Buonasera a tutti, good evening and welcome to the Italian Radio Hour. Io sono Viviana and I would like to welcome back our regular listeners and also welcome any new listeners. Also be sure to like us on Instagram and Facebook at Italian Radio Hour and subscribe to our YouTube channel to catch up on any past video interviews. Vorrei dare il benvenuto ai nostri ascoltatori da tutto il mondo, grazie per essere con noi anche oggi mentre continuiamo il nostro viaggio per l'Italia e la cultura italiana. So today I feel privileged to finally have a one-on-one time with someone that I've been following for his amazing commitment, along with his cousin Rocco and I believe your sister,
Yeah, and they're all in the room today too.
Sabino Curcio from Growing Up Italian.
How are you?
It is indeed a platform that has not only racked up some amazing audience, but because of the message that they actually put out there. So yeah. we'll talk about how they got started along the way and the latest events that that occurred over the weekend. But stay tuned, don't go away, a little pubblicità. Parli italiano? Do you want to learn, improve, or master your Italian? Istituto Mondo Italiano can help. Located in the heart of Regent Square, Mondo Italiano offers small group classes and one-on-one private tutoring in person or online to help you learn Italian in no time. Visit us online at istitutomondoitaliano.org. Sabino, ciao, come stai? How are you?
You're really good at this, by the way. You're better doing podcasts than me. I'm telling you. I just felt like I was on Alitalia when you started in the beginning, and then I felt like I needed to download Duolingo. You are pushing exactly what we need to do to travel to Italy and learn Italian. So
Sabino, it's I don't think there is anyone on the first earth that doesn't know who you are and what you guys have
I don't know about all that.
But let's backtrack. I will let you tell us a little bit about what you, Michela, and Rocco have been putting out in the world to create a unique platform that consists of all the possible technologies out there to kind of unite the Italian community. So, Sabino, let's a little bit backtrack on when you guys, if you remember the day, the place where you guys came up with this idea.
So it's always awkward when someone asks me this because the initial process, I wasn't involved in making the Instagram, and actually Michele and Rocco collectively, they started that. They had we have a group chat with like all our cousins, and we used to always like send pictures, and we didn't really see anything super close to our Italian American. So our family, our parents were all born in Italy. We're first generation. At that time, we saw a lot of people that were a little further removed than us or super in Italy. And we always felt like we were too Italian for the American kids and too American for the Italian kids. And we learned that's what we just call like first generation Italian Americans. So we're like a different kind of Italian than someone that would be like a second or third generation, you know?
Yeah.
So basically, that's why I think my sister Michela came up with the idea to start this page. And then long story short, 2 years later, after they built out an amazing platform, they already had gotten a bunch of followers. They had an idea to start the podcast. And when they started the podcast, they reached out to me and they said, listen, we want to start this podcast. What do you think? And at the time, there wasn't many podcasts there. Like, I remember I knew like 2 people personally with podcasts, right? Now I probably know like 400. So there's like, podcast was like, what is that? So
now we are popping up like mushrooms.
Exactly, like when we fungi, like I feel like I'm with my Geo looking in the forest and finding all these.
Here we go. So actually, let's one of the first videos that I think it was posted maybe 2017 or 16 on I think it was on YouTube. I think it was you and your zio, your uncle, you wanted to kind of have the same expression in English, then him saying in dialect, and then Rocco giving the translation in Italian, and your zio kept on just answering the question. It was just hysterical. But let's talk about your family. Where is your family original from, and how much time did you spend in Italy growing up?
So basically we would go every single summer because my nana on my dad's side still lived there. So really, I'm 34 years old. Before COVID, right? I went every single year, at least once. So I've been to the hometown a lot. I have the
whether you want it or not, right? And I was going to ask you about
and it's kind of like my experiences are kind of crazy for being from a small town. Like our town is 2,000 people, and the tradition we have with the Madonna is incredible. It's like the most unique tradition, and I think any town I've ever seen. We carry our Madonna through a mountain for 8 hours, and then we leave her there for 9 days, and then we bring her down a mountain and do a whole procession later that day. Like you physically, like I hurt every bone in my body when we do this. It's like we do 50,000 steps in a day if you like look at it. Like, and it's actually back-to-back days because it goes from like 4 in the morning to the next. Yeah, so it's like a super like intense tradition. After I could show you some videos on YouTube and stuff, because like it gets some news outlet things. And what's crazy is that this tradition is right down the block from where we grew up. And John Viola, his family comes from the same town, but like a generation before.
Oh, so, I didn't know. Is John going to?
So you could take Sanza and this little region in Italy for the most, like Italian American cultural influence. Like these little towns of 2,000 people are leading the way for what Italian Americans, first generation, are seen as amongst everyone. So it's kind of wild.
You seem to be super passionate when you talk about it. So is this a tradition also, the Madonna, you guys are also carrying in the US?
In Brooklyn, and yes, exactly. So that Madonna here is from 1888. So it not only is it like we're doing this, but the Madonna, the tradition of the saint goes back 135 years in Brooklyn. It's one of the oldest mutual aid societies in New York. It's the second oldest in the country. So
let me ask you something. Let me see if I have done some homework myself. There is actually an instance of someone that had been adopted that connects the Madonna and your father. Can you tell us that episode?
Bro, she did her homework. Do you know the story, John?
No, I don't think I do.
I kind of want to say this.
Be ready, John. Tissue box next.
This is like one of the most intense stories you're gonna ever hear. But this is crazy because this is stuff I don't talk about on my podcast. But this story is wild. So basically, years ago, there was a family of like 4 or 5 in Sanza, right? And they couldn't afford to feed all the kids. So this woman gave up 2 kids to Rome for adoption. And the kids found their way here, right? I think they were in like Philadelphia or something, these 2 Sanzez kids. The girl was like 8 years old and the brother was like 3 years old. And they put them on a boat, shipped them to Philadelphia. And these are Sanzez kids.
They were adopted by a very wealthy American family.
They were adopted by a very wealthy family. These kids grew up great. And from what Gia tells us, the story, is that she had like a little pendant in her pocket, and it was of the Madonna della Neve. So I guess when she was 50 years old, she was trying to connect with where her family came from. And she sent a letter to the society.
In Brooklyn.
And my dad connected them.
He was the president of the society.
He was the president of the society at the time. And basically he knew this lady's sister in Sanza, and my dad made it super dramatic. Like it was like, I never cried like that in my life, but we did not introduce the sisters to each other because the brother passed away.
Oh God.
So it was only one of the sisters that remained, right? So we just like did a party. Like it was like 60 people in the society. And the 2 sisters like wandered until they found each other. So like the whole room, like we all know who the two sisters are, but they don't know each other.
Oh my god!
And
They've spotted each other.
yeah, it was.
You just smell each. I mean, come on.
It was crazy. So
they look almost exactly alike.
But that's I guess that sums up where we come from.
Yeah.
And you know what's crazy? Like now where we are today, like I wish like our society and especially like we would like hold true to the things we've done as a Sanzas community, because stuff like that is important, and that's the reason why the society's there, you know. And all egos and stuff should always be on the side. Like we should always remember that this is a prestigious society, and it's a reason it's survived 135 years, and there's no way it'll ever end under my as long as I'm alive. I don't know about anyone else, but it means that much to our family.
Yeah. So, going back to your summers in Italy, I'm kind of maybe picturing some fields, and I believe definitely a strong past of farming traditions. So really being in nature. So was that the also the time that you would spend the most time with some of your relatives and cousins?
What's so funny about that is the fact that you said that. It's so wild because my dad's mom, my nonna on my dad's side, she used to walk to the farm. Like I don't even know how far. Like realistically, I don't know. Like if I could say 6 kilometers, but it's literally like an hour
a distance.
Walk, right?
Yeah.
It's in a bella caminata. You know what I mean? Like what I was doing. Like one summer, I went there for 3 months. So my nonna would walk to the farm like every morning, 5 a.m. One morning, she was walking down to the farm and I was still out like partying in the piazza, and I hid behind a car. But it's just crazy because she did that every day, and she had like potatoes. She had like one little goat, maybe like 30 chickens, but a lot of land. Like she had potatoes, garlic, tomato, like everything. My nonna did not buy anything but dry pasta. And bread,
self-sustaining,
and then bread that would be in a cabinet for fucking, excuse me, my language, for bread that's like so hard that you could like, if you throw it at someone, you'll knock them out. Like I don't like, she would buy one of those like things of bread and take a little every day, and then like dump it in olive oil and water. I'm like,
it will last forever.
This isn't chicken cutlets, you know.
So yesterday I felt a little bit like turning to my father, and you get to that point in life where you recognize an act, and it's like, oh my God, I turned like into my parents. But we we were making a nice big salmon, and I usually like to put a little bit of olive oil, garlic, and then sprinkle on top some breadcrumbs. And my husband, who's not Italian, but anyway, he makes some meatballs. He ended up using all the breadcrumbs. So here I am, it's like, oh, I really need that crunch. And I look at a little piece of stale, wherever, panino, wherever. It's like, you know what? I'm going to put in the food processor. I'm going to make breadcrumbs of it. Exactly like my dad. Not that my dad really makes bread, but you cannot throw bread away. I guess it's the mentality of people that have lived through the war and they were kids, and
they don't waste anything. They don't waste anything.
And so when I'm doing it, and then it actually turned out to be the best, because that bread, kind of homemade breadcrumb, so it was almost like panko. And I was like, oh my God, and all of a sudden I had this kind of experience of that little, so.
That's so funny. You know what, what's so crazy, and something that like changed my perspective a lot too. I went to like the little town. So something that's kind of sad is that the little town I don't go to as much anymore, because I've been working with a lot of people in like Milano and like stuff like that. So over the last couple of years, I've been there like 24 hours one time and like 2 days, like really quick. This year I'm going with my kids for the first time for 16 days. And my kids are 8 years old and they've never been there. So it's super important for me. But something that changed the way I really like see how they value the food. And I don't know if you're a vegetarian or not, but I went there one year. I went there for a winter, and I saw like everybody in my town has pigs in the backyard, like or in farmland, right? Like they have pigs. they kill the pigs and then they make their own supersad,
Mm-hmm.
prosciutto, whatever, you know. So it's a very big thing in my town. Like when it's at 2 weeks in winter, every like day somebody's killing a pig. You're going to their house to like celebrate, like
Yeah.
make it. But I did it one year, like that whole thing, and it was like, wow, this is crazy. Like you get there
Intense.
like 5 in the morning, like that whole process of doing that, and then all of a sudden it's like a celebration after, and I'm like, you smell like, you know, what just happened.
They're
And
just gonna hang you as well. See you in 8 months.
but what's crazy to me is that they don't waste anything.
Yeah.
Everything that they like,
Mm-hmm.
and you know, where we are right now in the biggest metropolis in the world. We've kind of went far away from that, you know. Like you know, I could go right now across the street and get whatever I want.
Yeah.
Literally,
Mm-hmm.
I
Yep.
could get any kind of cuisine that I want, and it could be delivered to me.
Yep,
So
absolutely.
it's
Mm-hmm.
kind of crazy. And one thing I don't like kill pigs in New York City, but I hate when people waste food. You know, like because of this.
Mm-hmm.
Like, let's say right now we ate lunch and there's all this leftovers. I'm like, okay, who's eating all of it? Because it's sad. You know, like there's people out there that don't have food, and I wish people like respected food a little bit more.
Yeah.
You know, like that.
Yeah, absolutely. So we have a couple of things in Rome going on. Like for instance, there is one of the biggest public markets near the train station, and I believe on Saturday they actually gather whatever is left unsold from all the different vendors, and they actually redistribute for free to the community. Or they also have some chefs that will cook up some meals, especially in the winter soups and so forth. So yeah, absolutely. They're not wasting anything. The quinto quarto, the offal. Now they're becoming the delicatessen of
Yeah.
so many different cuisine. And you are indeed in the
There's
food
a
business.
there's a
Mhm.
couple there's a couple app, like even there's one I think here, Too Good to Go or something like
Yeah,
that.
exactly. Yeah. Where
Yeah.
you can, and it's
Yeah.
actually good stuff because the Too Good to Go, I think you can choose the establishment and you get like this surprise bag box depending on the food establishment you have chosen. And it's mainly is made fresh daily. And again, it's just on the principle of not wasting it, and you pay a ridiculous amount of money to get again a Christmas package, so to speak, like a bounty of products. Talking about a little bit about the food business, you want to tell us the many things,
Yeah, as you're talking to
the
me, I'm
panini
writing that.
shop, the liquor store, everything related
Wait,
to growing up.
did you talk to
So,
my ex-girlfriend or something?
you know,
How do you know? How do you know all this?
So tell us a little bit the pros and cons about working with your family and your first menu when you were really young. Maybe your dad, I have finally to listen to you,
No,
right?
I feel like I'm watching one of these hip hop interviews of like, you
Don't
did your
lie.
homework. You did your
Don't
homework.
lie.
Don't lie.
So I started like in my family's business really young. Basically from when I really started getting involved the first time, I wanted a cell phone, right? I was like
Mhm.
12, 13 years old. My kids are with iPhones now. They had it for 2 years. They had phones at 6. So just to see where we've came is so crazy. But yeah, I remember like 7th grade, I wanted a phone. I got a little flip phone, like, nothing crazy, but it was like the best thing to have a phone. Um, so my dad said, if you get the phone, you got to work, like you got to pay for it. So, like, it's honestly, I don't know if I'm gonna say something that's gonna get in trouble, but you pay me like $10 a day at the time. It literally was $10 a day.
Mhm.
So it was like, when you would work like 5 days, because I used to do the Monday through Friday, $50 a week. Like,
Mhm.
you thought you were a millionaire. But the thing with me was like I always like did other things to kind of like really, you know, like I used to make CDs when I was a kid.
Uh-huh.
I was the first friend with a CD burner, and I used to make CDs for like $3, $5. So I learned like, okay, I could make 4 CDs and make $20, or work with my dad for 10 hours for $10. Like, I don't know, maybe I'll do that. But I've always been involved in the business. And when I was 15, I was in I, yes, I think it was 15. Boar's Head used to like make menus for you. So I was like, I made a couple of sandwiches for my dad's menu that they kind of auto-generated, like just with Boar's Head branding menu, and then we've had like 4 big menu changes that I was always involved in, and now my sister's here and she's like doing the latest stuff, like, but we've always been like in-house, like making this menu, and it's kind of funny how it works. But me and my dad, when I used to work for him, he was a little difficult, so I always had to do like my own thing and then like at a certain point, like it's almost like I had to build to get his respect.
Yeah.
So, like we used to butt heads a lot. So we had an opportunity to open another panini shop, and we opened it, and that one was just like me and my sister. And what we were doing there in this little neighborhood in Queens was affecting the place in Brooklyn more. Like I'll never forget, like we made this new sandwich and we're like, wow, we sold 10. And I spoke to my dad, he's like, I sold 40. And I was like, what do you like? What? And then I'm like, why are we killing ourselves? Like we're working 70 hours a day. Like let's all go back and give this location everything. And we really we had like a small Instagram following, like 5,000 people, something like that. And I remember we were using this social media company, and basically like I hired them to create content for me, and they also have like the biggest platform in New York. So from working with them, we did like an event, a networking event where we invited 50 influencers back when they didn't want to get paid to show up somewhere, like they were just happy to create content. And from that day, we went from like 5,000 followers to like 15,000 or something like that. Like we gained 10,000 followers in a day. It's unheard of. It's never happened.
Yeah.
And and from that day, I had so much content for like the next month, like just different people's versions of what you present them to. Like I literally made like these 3-foot hero sandwiches, and it was the same food for 30 different people, but everybody like created their own version of it. And like that really like jump started us to have this online presence. And now credits to my sister, she's been doing really well with the merchandising. Like she designs all of our merch. I'm actually wearing a shirt right now.
Yeah.
And I'm wearing shorts that she designed too. And I think now our newest venture business wise is being here in Little Italy and getting to show that to the world, like with what we do and how we build businesses,
Absolutely. So I have 2 questions. Well, actually, one question related to still the panini, and then we will shop, and then we'll move on to something else. So when I'm gonna visit you,
hopefully I answered your question. By the way, I don't know if I got too off.
That's okay. It's all good. It's all good. So when I'm gonna come and visit you at the shop, but what is going to be the panino that I'm going, and then I'll tell you my little panini story. When I first came to the US, that you would say, Viviana, you must try. Absolutely.
I see. I could tell you're very Italian, so I can't give you anything too crazy.
No, I'm very adventurous, and again,
because no, we get crazy over there.
I like spicy.
Yeah, okay. I could tell because in Pittsburgh they do the atomic pepperoni rolls. You guys, that's you like that or no?
I don't think I have the atomic, but I did try some pepperoni roll. Absolutely, yeah.
When I went to Pittsburgh, there's a Penn Mac over there.
Yeah,
and if I'm not mistaken,
and then Permani's Caprimanti's, the sandwich with the fries on it.
But that's right. Yeah, that sandwich is amazing. But they have a pepperoni roll, and then the original owners of Penn Mac they split, and then they open something across the street, and they make these pepperoni rolls that are spicy, but they're amazing.
Yeah. So I know exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. So like in New York, you're not finding that. So are you like cool with that kind of stuff, or you're like a producer?
Whatever you're gonna say that I should be trying, I will be trying it. Even if you put crocodile meat, I would. If you're giving it to me, I'll trust you.
yeah.
Alligator.
I don't think that would be legal.
Somebody tried to feed me shark the other day, and I looked like I'm like had 6 heads. I'm not eating shark.
I ate shark. It's not bad.
So I don't get adventurous, but yeah, maybe like if you like sopa di sata, we do like a little sopa di sata, provolone, grilled eggplant, olive oil on a panino. Like that's like a classico. or like Michela made this new sandwich because the place is called Anthony and Son. So she always says like, why does it say Anthony, son, and daughter? I'm like, bro, you weren't
Well,
born.
you guys have the same pendant, don't you?
Yeah. She says you guys have the same pendant.
So she's
But no, so she made this sandwich. It's prosciutto, burrata, arugula, fig jam, and balsamic glaze on a hero. That's like a nice summer sandwich.
I really like it. Good job, Michela.
Yeah, so I can't take all the credit for everything. I always have good people around me, so Michela gets a lot of credit to the success we've had.
Well, making a rap song with Shop with a Lil D, that turns out it's such a nice.
Because she even knows Lil D freestyles.
I like it. It's really just kind of all comes together without feeling,
Would you say the range is crazy?
Uh-huh. So you guys are all over the place. So now, actually, let's talk about Italians all over the world. Again, you have millions, and I'm not just throwing there, just millions of people from all over the world that probably share the being first or also second or third generation of Italians in these other countries. Two questions for you. One, is there a country that surprised you to find out there were so many Italians? And maybe if there is any story that you remember or that they shared or something. So
I've heard stories about Argentina. I haven't went myself, but my dad's went. But for me personally, my personal experiences of where I was like, wow, there's Italians here, was Brazil.
Yeah.
I went to Brazil for the 2014 World Cup, and a lot of family and friends say I'm a jinx because they haven't qualified since. So, but I was there when Chiellini bit Suarez here. I was there. It's one of the lowest points in my life. But my family that from Sanza that went to Brazil, some of them were rooting for Italy over Brazil. And like, I'll give you an example. I don't know if I'm going to root for Italy over USA in basketball, and soccer. I'll do it, because I like my but that's what it is for Brazil. Is amazing. Like they have the most World Cups, so their family was kind of split on it, and like some of the family members were rooting for Italy, and I was like, wow, that's crazy. And then in Brazil, when you're watching a game, because I was there when they were playing, like I didn't go to the game, but like just them being on TV, the whole country stops. This is 2014. The cab driver had a screen with the game on. And as we were taking a cab somewhere, and I'll never forget, Brazil was literally playing. It's when we landed in the city. Because in Brazil, I did 4 cities in like 20 days. Wow. So I was traveling a lot. So while we landed, Brazil was playing against, I think it was Peru, something, or Chile, I think. And they're like, let's say when there's a shot on goal, and while you're driving, you hear people go, like, so for my family to not root for Brazil and root for Italy in Brazil, I was like, wow, there's really Italians here.
Yeah. So when you're in Italy and you're watching a soccer, I see that you have a Napoli soccer scarf there. Is that your team or is John's?
That's John. That's John's.
That's John's contribution.
I gotta try to like all teams now a little better, but I'm an Inter fan. Okay. I'm an Inter Milan fan. But
we're still friends. That's okay.
Recently Roma, there was a ad for Adidas Italia, and Roma flew me out, and I'm wearing this Roma shirt, and I'm friends with I'm good friend, like I've been friendly with players on Juventus, so it's like with what we're building, I love Inter, but I'm trying to learn to love.
You're gonna be friends with everyone.
Yeah. I'm gonna be like Switzerland, Like, but I am an Inter fan first.
Yeah. So well, let me actually read a couple of messages from our sponsors, and then we'll continue with this lovely conversation, if you don't mind.
Of course.
Applying for Italian citizenship, need documents translation. Istituto Mondo Italiano provides certified translations and assistance services. Be sure to visit us at istitutomondoitaliano.org and schedule your free consultation. Un caffè, per favore. My first cup of coffee sets the tone for my entire day, and I get my coffee at La Prima Espresso. La Prima has been brewing Pittsburgh's best coffee for nearly 35 years. Try any of their in-house roasted varieties of beans from all over the world at home, or come and enjoy an espresso or a cappuccino at any of their locations, where their friendly baristas and familiar faces will make you feel at home. Visit us laprima.com to get La Prima Espresso coffee at your door. So you were mentioning Italy. What are some of the engagements that you have been participating over there?
Oh my
That
God.
you might want to, too many to.
So what really I think changed a lot of my perception was going places with Sveta. I don't know if you know Sveta, the Sveta Basta. He's like the #1 artist in Italy for the last 6 years. So from what we've been doing, I got very close to him. And when he invites me to Italy, like when he was on tour, I went 2 different times when he was on tour. And I'm actually going June 23rd. He's playing San Siro 2 nights in a row. So it's an accomplishment to do San Siro 2 nights in a row. 80,000 people,
Wow.
2 nights in a row, 160,000 people in 2 days. It's only like Vasco Rossi, Eros, like only top people could do that. And to do it 2 nights in a row is crazy. But whenever we go anywhere in Italy and we do something together, it's changed my whole perception, because he walks down the street, he shuts down crowds because he needs to go like in back alleys, and like it's crazy. So when I saw like him do a performance in Italy, it changed my life forever. I went to Sardinia for the first time, and he did a show for, I think it was like 50 or 60,000 people. And I was with him the whole time. Amazing. And I'm like, here I am from this little town in Italy with the biggest artist in Italy. It's crazy. So yeah, I've been to so many concerts there, and like I was invited by Inter to come to 2 games. Roma invited me to a game. When I went to Torino, Fagioli gave me tickets to go to the game. Like he took care of me. So it's like people are really looking out for me now. It's crazy. Like I get invited to so many things, but it's
so at what point did you guys realize that you kind of made it? I mean, obviously the sky's the limit. You guys will continue to grow, but there is at some point where you started to reap the benefits of your notoriety.
In the room we're in right now, my cousin, my sister, my partner, and we can't even think like that because the work hasn't even started yet.
Yeah, but
we have an empty store behind us, so we got.
So can we then share a little bit with the audience the beautiful space and that you're in, that got major celebrations and ribbon cutting ceremonies, and
so we the space we're in right now is the studio part of the location. So we're ready to film in here. This is probably the first. Oh, actually, no. This is the second piece of content. Being filmed here.
Yeah.
John filmed the first time his Italian American podcast, and doing things like that, like helping produce his show, like because he's been doing on just audio. So now that he's able to
video
film, we're very excited because the Italian American message is going to get sent to everyone. So
amplified, yes.
So we're super excited, and it's the first step. It's the first step. So
it is.
We're unfortunately, I think some people don't. The way we celebrate is so big that people are trying to, like they're knocking down the door, walking in. We're like, oh, we're not open yet. They're like, but you just had a grand opening. And we're like, no, that's just for the studio. This is coming soon. So basically, we have a lot of work to do, and the retail space is going to be open very soon when it's perfected. But for right now, we're getting ready to film in here and create content, and we're going to be doing bigger things very soon.
Yeah. So you guys have been collaborating.
I say that right, John?
Yeah.
Yeah. And don't forget about Pittsburgh.
Yeah, and of course.
I finally got a chance,
honestly, with John's vision of everything Italian American, I think with what we're doing here, we should be bringing it to every city that has a big Italian American, like in Pittsburgh right now. I think you should try to schedule something with John soon, because, or even whatever, because the stuff he's done has been incredible in here. He's designed everything in every bell and whistle, and there's like a memory booth he could tell you more about.
Yeah.
Because I can't explain it as good as him, but I think this memory booth, if we put it in every Italian American neighborhood, it's a way that you could hold everyone's stories, and we build the database for the next generations, you know, because
it's kind of a new oral history archive for
exactly,
everyone.
and it's like
That's what we built. Yeah,
exactly. I mean, John's right here, and
and John, just last year, I think about this time, you guys were on the Italian Radio Hour. You very kindly, you and Pat had me on the Italian American podcast. So I think I'm extending officially the invitation to have a one-on-one conversation also with Pat. I've never met Rossella. I did meet Marianna Gatto in some other events. So it looks like little by little, some people that were just virtual connections have started to materialize. So it's so I'm sure you have been sleepless for quite some time.
I probably look it. Yeah, everybody's been telling me I look terrible. So that's the
you look like a little Mario.
Compliment. Yeah, you know, you look horrible. That must be going well. But yeah, we have been working really hard on the space, and would love you to come down. And you know, Sabino mentioned our memory booth. We built a proprietary AI technology to interview anybody under the sun for an oral history project that's based on really highly specific Italian and Italian American questions created by Mariana Gatto was one of them, contributors from our community, and all of these technologies are you know, rapidly evolving, and our booth here feeds into a database of memory preservation, and we hope that in the near term future we can sort of they're like phone booths, and send these phone booths out around the community. So, you know, maybe at the cultural center in Pittsburgh, you put one of these phone booths in, and all of these memories are going into a central database. And then the AI interviewer is learning about our community, about our story every time it interviews. So it's getting better and better and better at digging out the heart of our story, because, you know, we've done hundreds of interviews, Sabino and these guys have done hundreds, and you learn what to ask. We want the computer to do that, so that it's not just the 6 of us going out there, but this computer can go to 6,000 people, you know.
Exactly. And also, you know, the collection of these oral histories, because they will encompass a series of generations, continue and to strengthen the mission of dialogue, you know, what it was, what it is, and what it will be, so that both, you know, people in Italy can find out a little bit of what happened to the Italians all over the world, and how they create culture and their unique identity that somehow has a little bit of Italian DNA there, but it has its unique values and flavors and everything. So I personally, we should not do any kind of comparison. It's just an evolution and has its own characteristics. Let's learn from that, even because now when people immigrated 100 years ago, maybe it was so expensive that they didn't return to Italy, or maybe they return once after 30 years. Well, now with technology, we can be in both countries. And so even the dynamics have changed, and people have to be understanding that the experience of an immigrant 100 years ago is very different from someone that is coming or has come 10 years ago. So having a collection of all the different experiences, I think it's a great learning human, you know, tool to
learn. Crazy stuff, right?
Absolutely.
It's Disney World for Italian people.
Yeah, it's Disney World for Italian people. Exactly. It's crazy. It's wild.
So, well, going back to growing up Italian, the abbreviation, the guy, it makes you the guy, right? GUI, the guy.
Yeah, exactly.
So you guys have featured, continue to feature some amazing guests. Recently you had Nadia, so we, you know, who doesn't know the pasta
She's
queen?
amazing, by the way.
Yeah, she is in your beautiful studios.
She's a very special person.
Yeah. Sushi Mango, I think you guys connected with them.
Yeah, see,
there is there.
They were amazing. Because of them, I'm literally considering going to Australia.
Oh, you should. You should.
Yeah, it's something me and John were talking about too. I got to see it. Like, you know, Brazil was crazy. I want to see Argentina, Australia. Those are two trips I'm planning on like taking soon because I need to see it.
Yeah, absolutely. And so, you guys, so what's your typical day, and do you manage to separate business from your personal life?
No,
Maybe you
no.
guys have a good business of organizing your content where it looks like
Business,
you're shooting all the
business,
time, but maybe you're
business
with
is
the
very,
kids.
business is very personal.
Yeah,
But
because it's true. It's
but
authentic in that
for
way.
for me personally, right? I don't know. Everyone else is a little different, I guess. But for me personally, when I have my kids, I usually don't do anything. Of course, I'm like text if I'm texting call, I'll take calls, whatever, that kind of stuff. Like every parent that works from home, you know, like
Yeah.
I definitely if I have something like that. But as far as like physical doing something like this,
Yeah.
Tuesdays, I don't, you know, on Tuesdays I'm free to do that, you know. So
Okay.
I really work on like 3 days a week for that social like kind of stuff. Like if I got to go to Milano to do a show or like to see someone for a show, I've traveled to Italy for 2 days before.
Yeah.
People said I'm crazy. John's done it for one day.
It's done. I've done it to surprise my mom for her birthday.
And
It's
Rocco too, actually.
not ideal, but you hope the airlines are all going to keep their schedules.
Yeah, exactly. But you know, Rocco too, when we just went to Milano, he came for 3 days. And I'm pretty sure that's the first time he's ever done 3 days. So like we're all like figuring out what it takes to do this, you know, like you gotta be willing to jump on a plane for 24, 48 hours, 72, whatever it is. To get it's not it's like in the rappers, when I'm with the rappers in Italy, we call it fast life. Like that's just like when we do something crazy, like okay, for example, this Thursday, I'm flying to North Carolina at 8 in the morning, and I fly back the same night because Inter Milano's doing some kind of tournament there. So they told me Materazzi and like these legends are going to be there. I said, I have my kids Wednesday and Friday, but I'll come Thursday and leave Thursday. You know, and we just call it fast life. So when you really want to do something,
you make it happen.
Make it happen.
Let's talk about your boys. You said they're 8 years old. Are they twins?
Yes.
Okay, fantastic. So what do they like to do? And you said this is their first trip to Italy. You're planning to get them on a regular summer schedule. Do you still have relatives that they could spend time?
So yeah, we're gonna do 2 weeks there. What's awesome is they're gonna get to experience our August 5th there for the first time.
Oh wow.
Which is gonna be super special. I'm so excited about it. And then August, like another day in August, my best friend, who's my son's godfather, is getting married there. So I'm super blessed to like share two amazing life events with them there.
Yeah.
And just I plan on showing them my farm that my nonna did. And if I can't get to it, then I'll go to another farm, whatever. I just want to show them. Because I'll never forget one time, like my dad, he brought me, my sister, and his brother's kids. So my dad, my Zio wasn't there. It was us five cramped in a car, and he drove us somewhere like next to a hill, and he goes to me and my cousins, "This is where me and your dad watch sheep."
Yeah, and that's maybe when it sank in with
that was like a pivotal moment in my life when I was like, wow, like this is what we come from, you know? And we're blessed to have what we have and have this lifestyle. But I need to do the same for my kids.
Yeah.
Because let's face it, we live in New York, you know, they don't really know what it's like. So to me, that's the most important thing this summer. And of course, we're like 25, 30 minutes from the beach.
Okay.
I definitely want to go to the beach a lot, work on the tan, you know?
Absolutely. So talking about kids, and I had my citizenship. Where do you say? And Rocco, can Rocco come in so that I can finally say,
I actually got to talk to Rocco because I don't know how he got the citizen. We got. I thought we had the same guy here.
Ciao, Rocco.
He doesn't answer me anymore.
West
So
Side.
it is indeed a process where you have to pack some extra patience between how long it takes to get an appointment and so forth. Would you like to share 2 cents about your experience and your excitement of holding the 2 passports?
Rocco's thinking about starting a business with this right now.
That was one of the best days of my life. Just
Mhm.
having the Italian passport in my hands is something I always envisioned and something I always wanted. But I actually started the process 10 years ago, back when I
Yeah.
was 18 years old. I went with my mother and my 2 brothers. She put me in the system. We went to the Italian consulate,
Yeah.
had a meeting scheduled, did that, waited years, didn't hear back. Then I followed up, didn't hear back. Next thing you know, we're 6 years down the line. COVID happens.
Yeah.
Everybody knows after COVID, everybody wanted the passport then because we had nothing else better to do. So we had to entertain ourselves. The office was closed. So, anyways, 3 years ago, I emailed them again. Well, my older brother emailed the consulate. We formed a meeting. That took another year and a half to come by. Our information was already in the system. So they told us, listen, you have to fill out this document. Then you have to come in again to send it in to us. Then you go back home. After another 6 months, you come back in, fill out a little more information, and then in 2 weeks you get your passport. So
and then here you are with the
exactly. So it was a long road, but it was so worth it. So
yeah, it's it's kind of that additional piece in the puzzle of again establishing your identity. It could be my identity, everyone's identity, but it kind of and then you can probably travel through the faster lane once you get to Europe.
yeah, it definitely has its benefits, but I don't want to hear nobody say I'm not really Italian now.
Yeah, he's the only one that could say it now.
No, but as I said, let's talk a little bit. Maybe what are some of the comments that might turn you off a little bit, or maybe if you remember the best compliment that someone, on the other hand, paid to you and your work, because I like to focus on the positive.
Yeah, so honestly, like you said, I don't really focus on the negatives too much. Originally, it was annoying seeing people comment like, "Oh, you guys are fake Italians," or "You're trying so hard." But it's not even the Italians from Italy commenting that. It's just internet trolls that want to react.
Yeah.
I've learned that native Italians, especially the people that Sabino's connected me with, especially the artists, the music artists, the rappers in Italy, they really appreciate what we've been doing here, which is in a sense forming a bridge between Italy and America.
Exactly.
We're trying to unite the world and showcase that Italian culture is a beautiful thing and it doesn't just exist in Italy. So.
Exactly. I mean, as I said, it's that message of dialogue, learning from one another, collaborate instead of just having everyone's little territory, because it can be an Italian nation, so to speak. It doesn't really have borders, just a collectivity of experiences. Il mondo è bello perché è vario, right? So if we were all the same, and what's the fun, right? And it's I think I'm more exposed to the Italian American experience, although I have lived in other countries and so forth. But sometimes the traditions that people have maintained, so some of them might be in a time capsule. They are a great value because if Italy has evolved, it has lost that, and here you can revisit being exposed, or maybe even ponder on, the word in Italian language actually comes, from that, wherever it is. I mean, as I said, it's a fluid learning opportunity every single day. So again, kudos to what you guys do.
Viviana, I told my one that I need 10 minutes.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah,
everybody's in here right now. If you want to ask Rocco, Michela, John anything, also,
maybe
because this is all a team effort here also. And
yeah, absolutely.
This has been a breath of fresh air.
If Michela doesn't mind coming on, because I don't think it's like for us, we feel that we know you because of all the content. I would like
I'll go to the other room to take the call if that's okay then.
Yeah, absolutely. And I wanted to thank you very much for your time.
Thank you so much. And honestly, I cannot compete with the way you did your homework. If any of my guests expect that, they're in for the rudest awakening.
No, it's a way that of me getting to know who,
Yeah, I'm working on scheduling this podcast while I'm in Milano, and these girls that I'm gonna interview, they're like these social media stars, and they're like the Kardashians of Italy. And the girl that I've been talking to book the interview, she goes, "You could do, but you have to do your homework on us." And I was like, I never do my homework on any guest, and it's gotten me far. But and I don't even mean it like that, but like I feel like our platform where we have these conversations to talk about how people grew up Italian. So like to get to that point, I need to like figure that out along the way. Like I feel like when I'm figuring out, that's the way my whoever's watching is figuring it out. So like that's been my structure. So the way this interview was amazing. I think it was my best like conversation I've had on a podcast. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, and good luck with everything.
Thank you. We'll see you. We'll see you either in New York or maybe in Italy. August, I will be in Italy. So and always looking for Sagra. Thank you. And again, if Michela doesn't mind coming up, ciao. Okay, let's see who is next. Hello.
Hey, how are you?
I'm doing well. Great to meet you. So do you like to come on camera or do you like more to direct Rocco and
Honestly, I'm more behind the scenes. I don't really like to get on the camera.
But that's also where a lot of magic happens. You're doing
exactly. That's where all the leverage is,
Exactly. So where do you what's the age difference that you guys have?
Between me and Sabino, he's 4 years older than me, and I'm 1 year older than Rocco.
Okay, wonderful. So, how is as an older brother, protective of you, or it's like, oh, you're on your own? Yeah, I think he's probably a protective one.
He was very protective, and honestly, we were always very close growing up. I think now more than ever, like he's my best friend. We're super close. But I think it's that way because, for instance, when I was going into high school, he was coming out. So 4 years was the perfect age. We were close enough, but yet far enough where we also had like our own thing,
Yeah, I remember I do have 4 years with my sister, and there is up to a certain point where you're just the younger sister, right? So it's like, don't come close to me. We don't have anything comments. But once I enter high school, it was the same high school that my sister went to, and she was about to finish. I think we had 1 year because in Italy, high school is 5 years. That then we would walk back home together. She, carry on her conversations with her friends, me with mine. But that started to be the process of getting closer. And then since I moved overseas, I kind of became the older sister because of the life experiences. The first one to pay my own rent, my utility bills, and so tell me a little bit about yourself that you would like to share with our audience, things that you also like to do besides.
Honestly, I heard all the homework you did. You might have all my dirty secrets. I don't know.
No.
So we work a lot together with Growing Up Italian. I do really like more the behind the scenes. I do the merch. Kind of like the books, the expenses, stuff like that. And I really do run the day-to-day operations of the Panini Shop. I'm there every single day for a majority of the day. So I really do leave very little time for myself outside of those two things, but for a good reason. I can't allow any distractions. I get myself in trouble.
You need to stay focused. You need to keep the ship going.
Yeah, exactly. I can't allow my mind to wander. I get myself in trouble. But I don't even see those, like, for me, it's almost amazing that I was able to make those two things work because they really are passions of mine. Like I really do enjoy every single part of Growing Up Italian. I enjoy every single part of the Panini Shop. So for me, working all those hours every day, every week, it doesn't even bother me because I enjoy it so much,
Yeah, they say if you enjoy what you do, you never work a day in your life, even though it does take a lot of
and
work.
it's really been a blessing because we've really,
The
like,
response.
everybody in this room, I haven't even really looked at my phone because everybody I talk to is here. Like, it's really like working with your best friends every single day.
Yeah.
And we've been blessed that we've been able to turn this into what we have.
Absolutely. And you can perceive it. You know, as I said, I've never really met any of you physically yet, but always, and also from the very minute that Sabino came on, feel that very energetic, authentic, passionate vibe that I think makes you so special. And again, do what you do with a smile. So we're going to go into closing, and I was wondering if you had a message for, you know, any advice for the Italians in any perspective, or
I think we got to invite Rocco on for this one. Rock, come here.
yeah.
Jump in on this. When we're talking advice, we got to ask Rock.
Yeah, any advice for people about how to cultivate their I don't know, Italianness? I know that you guys are also involved with the Future Leaders conference. So maybe I'll take one step back about seeing a revival of people being interested in their background. I think it was peaked, then went down, and now it's coming up again. Is that what you guys are observing?
Absolutely. I think it's gonna sound a little corny too, but I think it's like cool to be Italian. You know what I mean?
Finally, for in the first time in a very long time, it's cool to be Italian.
But in terms of the future leaders, I would love if John, not to throw you in the fire here, if John could explain, because the mission behind that I believe is incredible, and he's the best one to speak about it.
Yeah. Okay, we're gonna bring you, and we're not gonna let you do any paperwork.
Your audience stick with the moving the camera. You know, to be honest, Pat and I had this idea a long time ago when I was at IAP, tried to get support, couldn't really get the support I needed, knew it was something I always wanted to do. Basil Russo from the Conference of Presidents sort of set out this idea. Pat was screaming about how old the room was, and Basil said, all right, well, if you think that's the case, then do something about it. So we created this program, and to be honest, it was early in the conversation we were having between the podcast, Italian American podcast, and Growing Up Italian, and I knew, and I still maintain this, we could never have done it without the Growing Up Italian team, because I was teasing Sabino. We were talking about the young 21 to 35-year-old Italian Americans that were there and how friendly everybody was. And he was like, this is like hanging out with friends. I said, you know, you're like, it's a weird reference, but I think of like the Saved by the Bell. You know, he's like Zach Morris, the popular kid. I'm like the principal. You know what I mean? Like, they don't look at me as a contemporary anymore. So I knew the way that I speak to people was never going to be contemporary to their life experience. But these guys have done a great job of bringing a young voice to an important issue. And so together we were able to bring to bear great resources, really interesting programming, and a very unique perspective, and just empower these kids to lead tell us where the community was going. And I think all of us would agree we've learned a ton about where we're going based on what these kids are already doing.
So I'm assuming there's going to be a third iteration. About what time of the year should people start looking out for announcements as far as you reviewing applications? You see, because I think it was at the beginning of the year, right? The conference, January, I would say.
January is when we do it, but Rocco,
so
that's a Rocco
probably you're
question.
doing. Yeah, you're probably, you know, I think by December you want all your homework done, right?
Yeah, by December. I mean, we have IAleaders.org. Rock, is that right?
Yes.
IAfuture.org. Excuse me. IAfuture.org is the website. We have a great new executive director, Andrea Mock, who runs the day-to-day operation, and Rocco really does the most out of all of us. But I think, you know, one of the things we did was we try to turn as much over as we can to the alumni. So if you've done the program once, you're welcome to come back.
You're the ambassador also.
And we've created an alumni board of directors so that they really have like portfolios and responsibilities. So the idea is we made a 5-year commitment to fund the program. And by the end of that 5 years, you know, we'd like it to be where they're kind of running the program themselves with our executive director and us kind of overseeing very loosely. So that means that the way you apply might change and, you know, what we're looking for. So we're trying to be flexible, but I think, yeah, towards the fall, leading towards January, Martin Luther King weekend, because we have that nice long weekend. So you'll probably see applications open up late summer.
Okay, wonderful. Well, I'm not going to take any more of your precious time because I know, again, that you had a pretty busy weekend, much more ahead of you. So, absolutely. So, and then I can't wait to schedule some time to see the studio. I'm sure people are probably going to peek through the window trying to get a glimpse of when the show is getting recorded from there, from the also the Italian American podcast. And so that's it for today. So unfortunately, our time together is up. Il Big Ben ha detto stop. It is time for us to say arrivederci e alla prossima. We want to thank you for tuning in into the program. If you have any questions or comments, or if you have any travel topics you would like us to address, please contact us at theitalianradiohour@gmail.com. We would love to hear from you. And remember, if you or any of your family and friends have missed a prior episode or would like to listen to this episode again, subscribe to the Italian Radio Hour on YouTube or where you catch your favorite podcasts. I would like to thank my guests, starting with Sabino and Michela and Rocco from Growing Up Italian, John Viola from the Italian American podcast. I could not have asked for more to have them all in the same place. Our sponsor, Istituto Mondo Italiano and La Prima Espresso. Until next time, alla prossima. Ciao, ciao.
Grazie, alla prossima. Ciao.
Grazie.